I feel like you can't blame us because the ones that are not players are just dead ass boring.
Players are fun because players play the game. Women are fun because women play the game. The only women who don't like players are the women who are bad at playing the game. The only men who don't like women are the men who are bad at playing the game. The sore losers and the crybabies, incels and the femcels. I always say that the intersexual dynamics between men and women can either be fun and exciting, like a game, or boring and awkward, like a negotiation. And if it's very boring and if it's very awkward, then it will feel like prostitution. I always come across men who absolutely refuse to play the game. But these men don't understand that if it's not fun like a game, then there is nothing to play with. These men are very driven by their fantasies and very driven by their ideals. So they are in their heads. And if you are in your head, then you won't be able to play. Like an insecure child who refuses to play with other children but desperately wants to play with other children. He just wants to do it in his way, which is a way that he is comfortable with. At the end of the day, there is an exchange taking place. And this exchange does not bend to or accommodate your ideals, your fantasy, or the way you want things to go, or how you think things are supposed to go. Like a spoilt child who has not been socialized correctly. So he only feels comfortable playing by himself or around his mother, who feeds into his comforts and his frigidness, like his fantasy does.
Like, what is this strange correlation? Like, the more player the guy, the more fun he is. Like, he's fun, he has a personality. And then the more, like, kind and, like, respectful the guy, like, the more boring he, like, personality is not there, it's missing.
When it comes to negotiation, how nice you are means nothing. In fact, if the only thing you can bring to the negotiation is niceness, then you are probably going to strike a bad deal. People who do not play the game blind themselves to the negotiation. So they blind themselves to the elephant in the room. These people are not playing the game. These people are playing themselves. Because the game requires you to blind the other to the negotiation and to blind the other to the elephant in the room. Your potential employer knows you just want money, but does not want you to tell them that. They know they are just like everybody else, but they don't want to be reminded of that. They want you to play the game, and your unwillingness to do so says bad things about you. Either you make them seduce you, or you seduce them. But an unwillingness to do either says a lot of bad things about you. So today, in this video, let me help you out a little bit.
Okay, so it's very important that you guys understand what pushing and pulling is. I know you guys hear a lot about push and pull, but I don't think it's ever expanded upon. So I've done this little drawing. It's not the greatest of drawing, it's rushed, right? But I've done this little drawing to help you to conceptualize what exactly is push and pull and how you're supposed to negotiate this. All right, so this is the table. We can call this the table of negotiation. And this is going to be from the man's perspective, all right? Pushing and pulling from the man's perspective. So when you sit down at this table with a woman and you're negotiating with her, the first thing you need to figure out is what exactly is it she wants and what exactly does she not want. It is essential that you understand this because you need to figure out what she values and what she does not value. You need to understand, first of all, why is she sitting down at this table in the first place? A smart woman, a woman who's good at negotiating, a woman who's quite competitive, she will lie about why she sat down at this table. She might think that you're incredibly handsome, but she's going to say she likes your personality. She might be at this table because you got a lot of money, but she's going to say, I don't know, that she likes your personality. Usually she's going to lie to create a smokescreen as to why she's sitting down at this table. Why is she doing that? So you can't figure out exactly what she wants and what she doesn't want. If you can't figure out what she wants and what she doesn't want and what she values and what she doesn't value, then you are at a disadvantage. You won't be able to leverage what she doesn't want in order to get the things that you want. This is the reason why so many men do not know what women want. They don't want you to know what they want, because if you know what they want, you will have the leverage and you will have full control over the dynamic. So, of course, women are different, but there are certain things that all women want and all women don't want. The player understands these things very, very well, and that he has a basis of an understanding of what she wants and what she doesn't want. So when you are pushing with a woman, this is where you are in the state and in the mode of giving her the things that she wants. When you are pulling away from a woman, this is when you are in the mode of not giving her specifically the things that she wants. This is the reason why when you stop dealing with a woman, or when you really, really upset a woman, if this was the woman's perspective, she will, when you break up, she's going to sleep with the guys you don't want her to sleep with, because she has an idea, or specifically the things that you want and the things that you don't want. So typically the woman will end up sleeping with whoever it is you don't want her to sleep with as punishment for what she would perceive to be your foul play, or punishment for what she would perceive to be you wasting her time or you conspiring against her. So, for example, when you're pushing with a woman, if I was to tell you that you need to push her, if I'm coaching you and I'm telling you, all right, you need to push her, right? The types of things that she's going to want is she's going to want your warmth and your consistency. These are the types of things you're going to do when you are pushing. So you're going to be nice. You're going to probably mask with her. Right, so you're going to give her warmth, where even when you're not feeling warm, or even when you feel like you want to do something else, when you're pushing, you're going to give her warmth and consistency. What's consistency? Seeing her twice a week, once a week or more, texting her back, calling her, right? Just being consistent, something that she can read and something she can predict. When you're pulling away, you're going to give her your coldness and your inconsistency, right? And so that would be the opposite of those things. As I said in the previous video, when you're pulling away, you're going to pull away because this is usually when she is either pulling away or she is either showing you foul play or trying to manipulate you or doing something bad. That's when you pull away. All right. So this is when you need to, in order to correct this balance, right? Because you have to really get this balance correctly when you're dealing with a woman. It's a bit long to get into, but sign up for coaching if you want to understand a bit more. Then you need to basically pull away and show her your coldness and your inconsistency at certain moments in time. When you're pushing with her, this is when you're going to give her reassurances. All right. When you're pulling away, this is when you're going to be nonchalant. So you're going to give her no reassurances. Now, remember, this is a negotiation, right? I don't want to say these things to you and you're not having fun and you're not making this an exciting experience. You need to be very vague and ambiguous in the things that you are doing. So, for example, when you're pulling away and you're being cold and inconsistent, you don't make that clear to her. You don't make that clear to her. You could, for example, just be short with her, and when she's asking you if you've got a problem, you can say like, no, I'm just tired, I'm just really, really busy from work. She knows that no, you actually have a problem, but you're being vague, you're being ambiguous, and you're communicating to her indirectly, right? And so this is going to put her into a position to where she's going to have to use her initiative and change her behaviors. This is going to force her to push. She's going to force her to push to see if this is going to change your behavior, if that makes sense. When you're being inconsistent, as I said, you're not going to just be like, yeah, well, I'm not happy. No, you're going to be vague and ambiguous. You're going to communicate to her indirectly, right? So you don't want to just directly communicate to her, yeah, I'm being inconsistent to you now. I'm pulling away from you now. No, you just want your behaviors to change. Your behavior will change and it will reflect these things. right? And then what we want to do is communicate to her in a way where she has to use her own initiative and where she has to change her behaviors to see if it will change your behaviors. Now, of course, there are times where you should just communicate these things directly, but that's not all of the time. And it's not that fun. You kind of want to do things that she wants to figure out. You want her to be able to use her own initiative and for her to use the tools that she has, her seduction tools, her competencies to be able to see if she's able to seduce change out of you. All right, so we want to seduce her into seducing change out of you. That's basically how that works. By the way, guys, this is wrong. This is supposed to be swapped over with that. That's wrong.
Now, when you're dealing with a woman, you have to give her the things that she wants, or she's not going to find it fun, she's not going to find it entertaining, and she's not going to sit at your table for a long period of time. So you have to find the perfect balance of pushing and pulling. But you just need to understand that when you're giving her the things that she wants, you run the risk of not arousing her in the right ways, and you run the risk of her not reflecting in the right ways. Now, if we bring up the arousal valence model of emotions, if you look at each one of these emotions that you feel, the low arousal and the high arousal, the pleasant and the unpleasant, when you think about it, each one of these feelings forces you to reflect in different ways. When we are feeling satisfied, we will reflect in a different way to how we will reflect when we are feeling relaxed and calm. When you are feeling content, you will reflect in a different way to how you would feel satisfied. It's a different form of reflection. When we are miserable, we are reflecting in a specific way. When we are depressed, we are reflecting in a different way. When we are sad, we are reflecting in a different way. And what we have to do, right? What I advise for you guys to do is to never ever put women into these low arousal unpleasant states, that blue box. Never ever put women into that blue box. But every other box, you need to actually put the woman into these different states so she reflects in different ways, because after reflection comes a change of behavior. All right, so you need to be able to do things to make the woman reflect in pleasant, low arousal ways, the green box. You need to be able to do things to make the woman reflect in pleasant, high arousal ways. But you also need to do things to make the woman reflect in unpleasant arousal ways, which is the pink box. And this is the power of pulling away, right? Because when the woman reflects, when she's infuriated, she will have a different set of behavior after that reflection, right? When a woman reflects after fear, she has a different change of behavior over that reflection. When she's annoyed, she's reflecting and changing her behavior in different ways. Fellas, really deep what I'm saying. This works with our children as well. I'm a parent, all right? And so there are times where I need my child to feel fear, because it will be the only thing that will change his behavior in the right way. There are times where I need my children to feel angry and frustrated, because there are specific types of reflection I need them to go under that will change their behavior in specific ways.
So when we are pushing and pulling, what we are doing is these are the behaviors that will make our women reflect and change her behavior in different types of ways. These are all different types of ways to arouse her in different types of ways. Does that make sense? All right. When you're giving her what she wants, these are things that are typically going to lower her arousal. And when you're pulling away, when you're not giving her the things she wants, these are things that are typically going to raise her arousal. Right? And these are the same things we do in a negotiation, any type of business negotiation. All right, but you need empathy and stuff like that, and you need to be emotionally regulated so you have the clarity to actually know when to push and pull, and the empathy to know when to push and pull. This is more reactive, all right? And so whether we push and pull is going to be dependent on her behavior, right? When she does the right thing, she's rewarded with you pushing, giving her the things that she wants, incrementally, right? in small pieces. You can't just full blown give her the things that she wants. You're going to have a negative reaction, and then that's going to force you to pull all the way backwards. You're going to mess up the whole balance, right? But when she's not doing the things that she wants, that you need her to do, that she should be doing, then you need to be pulling away, right? Kind of recorrecting this balance. We want this balance to be central, right? We are the men, so we lead the dynamic, all right? And so we want this balance to be fair, right? The woman doesn't really have the ability to be fair. That's the reason why she can't lead this dynamic. But she's watching you to see if you can be fair. So you need to kind of navigate this dynamic and push and pull in the ways when you need to. She's emotional, so she doesn't know what she's doing, all right? She's compulsive and she's impulsive, and she has kind of like a lot of bad faith because she sees herself as a victim and blah, 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 blah. All right? So she is looking at you to see how you navigate this dynamic, you know? And so it's very important, guys. So anyway, leave a like, leave a comment, sign up for one-on-one coaching if you want more. Make sure you follow me on YouTube as well. YouTube is the real place I'm trying to do my things on anyway.